Welcome back to the LEC as Vitality take down SK Gaming in what was a very one-sided game. Selfmade, thank you so much for joining me after this one.
Hello.
I have a quick question about the draft because I feel like the jungle meta has been the least diverse so far, and you brought in Gwen today, which is a champion we haven't seen so far. How did you identify in this champion, and why was it good in this specific context?
Well, so we played a warm-up ARAM before our match today, and I got Gwen in that game, and she felt pretty strong, so I decided to pick her today.
Gwen is immune. Gwen is immune also in the jungle,
Yeah, she
apparently.
was immune. I mean, it's a strong champion. You can put her wherever you want. If she has 2 items, she's unstoppable, and that was kind of the game plan, right?
All right.
Pick scaling and wait for minute 20, and then we win automatically.
Yeah, and you really popped off here. As for the whole Vitality team, actually, and Perks was saying last week that it was very important that you guys are now playing together and that Barney is back at the gaming house. So taking a step back and reflecting on the league as it is and what we've seen so far, who do you think would be the team who's going to give you the biggest challenge? Because it feels like you guys are on the right track finally.
I mean, it has to be Fnatic, right? Because they're like by far the best in league from what you can see so far.
Yeah.
I mean, we never know what second half of the split gonna bring us, right? We had kind of tough start in week 1 where we faced them, but seems like they're still the best team at the moment.
Yeah, well, and we'll see what happens for them actually in the next game. But before we move on to that, I want to quote something I read on an interview you had with Paul from L'Equipe, and you said that this Vitality lineup is by far the best lineup you work with, including also the 2020 Fnatic version team in which you were playing. Could you elaborate on that, and why do you think Vitality is even above Fnatic back then?
I mean, just look at our players, right? We have Alphari, who is historically the best top laner in EU, like since he joined LCS back then, right? We have Perks, who is most successful player in Europe, and we have Karzi, who just won previous 2 splits with Mad Lions, and he also played with Labrov in the past, so they're like really good duo. And everything is just matching so well, right? People said that, you know, we're gonna be a team with a bunch of egos, but as you can see, we went 0-3 in the first week and we didn't implode, so it's going only up from now.
You know, there's one thing, especially about being one of the favorites, it's the fact that the community is always going to have the overreactions, especially after the first week when you were underperforming, or also the strong takes about, hey, maybe too much ego. How does that make you feel? And do you feel affected by what you see online maybe about this lineup?
I mean, I really don't care what people write about us, right? Because if we care, then we wouldn't go far. You can't really take, you know, even if something that, let's say somebody writes something on Reddit and it hurts me, I can just turn off my screen, right? And I don't see it anymore. So, but yeah, I mean, there is of course some pressure from the hype of the fans that they put on us, but it's also understandable, right? Because people expect us to perform and succeed. So we will give our best in the split and try to win LEC.
Also what comes with experience, if I may say. Selfmade, thank you so much for the interview. Good luck tomorrow in your matchup. And we have 2 undefeated teams facing off in the next matchup in the LEC. So back to you, Trevor.
Thank you very much, Laure. Thank you very much, Selfmade. A very, very earnest and honest interview. I actually think today Laure's had a lot of sassy players to talk to. Welcome back to the LEC studio. We are getting ready for the epic battle between the 2 undefeated teams of Spring 2022. Gentlemen, if you will give me a moment here. Rogue versus Fnatic. It is a rematch of the Summer 2021 semifinals where Fnatic demolished their opposition. They ended Rogue's dreams of lifting the LEC title. Rogue have won 5 out of their last 6 regular season matches versus Fnatic. But the overall head-to-head is 12-6 in favor of Fnatic. That tells a very big story about the postseason when the pressure gets high.
Trevor, you're telling me Rogue are a bit of chokers in the playoffs?
In the playoffs.
I don't know, in best of 5s in the playoffs, it does look like Rogue does fall apart, but in the best of 1s, they are, God, they're unstoppable, aren't they?
Well, they are. Now, of course, today it is a best of 1. These are the 2 best teams in the LEC over the last 2 weeks. Dagda, before we start to break down the matchup, can you maybe share a little bit of the insight maybe from the LPL, either the fans or the casters, what they make of the 2 top-of-the-table European squads?
Yeah, so I actually reached out to Mach T, which is one of the casters back in the Chinese Chinese side, and he came forward and said that this is kind of a standalone fight for both these teams. They look towards Fnatic as kind of the old realm in the LEC, whereas you're looking at Rogue as the new blood that's coming in to try and defeat that and take those down. So a lot of Chinese fans are really looking forward to this match.
I'm a big fan of how Chinese fans, how the IPL in general, especially on the local side, gives branding and names and stories to the teams. Let's start with Fnatic. This is the first time they played without Bwipo since 2018. It's a slightly different look. We talked during Ready Check around how they're a little bit more controlled, but they are still an aggressive team.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Hylissang, if he sees an angle, he's going to call the whole team to come right behind him, and he's the main engage, and I feel like they're so decisive. And maybe Bwipo not being there does make them a bit more tame, but also less volatile, which is a good and a bad thing. Being very volatile is almost like LPL. Elioyo was talking about it earlier, and let's just go in an int and see what happens and flip it. That's what the old Fnatic kind of was, but I think the new Fnatic is more kind of controlled. We can scale, we can kind of avoid this fight, but if they see an angle, when you have Hylissang on your team, they're always going to go for it.
Yeah, and you see with the style of play that they have, right, where they end up with a lot with these kind of 1-4 compositions where you have Wunder, who's off in a side lane, but very quickly he'll join into that death ball and they're just looking to roll over you in team fights. A large portion of that is coming from that successful bot lane.
Yeah, and I think the flexibility of Wunder is just so important for this team. You know, when you had Adam on the roster, I felt like there was a little bit of volatility towards topside. Adam had the most solo kills, I believe, but the most solo deaths. Like, it was explosive up there. But now you can kind of put Wunder on a tank, play more for this winning bot of Fnatic if you want to, or we can put Wunder on a carry.
Kills 3 people.
Question now. Winning bot for Fnatic. We've talked extensively about how the Fnatic bot lane is considered the strongest in Europe. Competition now against Rogue. Trymbi in particular pulled out something different against Mad Lions. I know, Dagda, you were talking about that Blitzcrank and that style. Do you think this Rogue bottom lane, first of all, will match up? And secondly, will Trymbi do something a little different today?
Well, see, it would have been nice to look at this as a 2v2, but it's not a 2v2 because Malrang's involved in the picture as well. So it feels like it's always going to be a 3v2 down to that bot side. Maybe Razork can give some help down there, but it often feels like it's more upsetting Hylissang winning out in the duo lane and having Razork facilitate that. And I think Malrang will be looking to try and get his grips into that and see if he can swing it in Rogue favor.
Dagda's completely right. The draft will be very important for bot lane. I think Thresh Rakan will be high prio for both teams, but Malrang to me is almost like the X factor for Rogue, where Inspired once upon a time was the carry jungle, play for jungle kind of style, give me pushing lanes, whereas Malrang's almost like, give me a losing jungle matchup, give me pure early game, give me team fight only, and I'll do the rest. I'll fall behind in CSD, I'll fall behind in XP, but I'll get my lanes ahead if they have good scaling team fight matchups, which they do.
Can he do that today? Because we've talked about the theory of Malrang and the differences to Inspired naturally, first 2 weeks of spring. Now against this Fnatic, against Razork, against Upset and Hilly, will Malrang be able to have the same impact?
The good news for Fnatic is Razork's week 1 was not very good, I will say, in the early game. In the early game, he didn't have much impact. He was getting counter-ganked a lot. He died in his jungle a couple of times, and he was behind in farm. Week 2 was a big turnaround for Razork, and I think early game is so important for both these teams because, I mean, just look at it behind us. You can see Malrang, he's always going to go for kills, second jungle proximity, but always down in farm. So he will pick Trundle, Jarvan, just spam gank lanes, get flashes to relieve lanes, and fall behind.
Do you know what I love about that then? If Malrang is down, it's not a 2v2. Let's theorize what happens if he doesn't do it. Let's talk about this duo because we focus very much on the individual players. But when we do look at Upset against Comp, the surprise coming into spring, how do you think this is going to play out, especially knowing how aggressive Upset and Hilly are?
Yeah, for me, it's all about how Upset and Hilly can get control. We said kind of about the opening stages, how they love to go for these 4th wave crashes so they can reset, get that big item advantage in that bot side and try and win out in the 2v2. Whereas it feels like for Rogue, the Comp and the decisions in-game are very much built around Comp. Having him shove in that bot side, get turret plates, using Herald to facilitate Comp and get him ahead at all points in time, and then having him be that main DPS in team fights.
Now, Caedrel, Comp in particular, to me, is one of the biggest surprises of the year.
Yeah.
Stepping into Hans Sommer's shoes, and then also how Rogue are playing around him. He has looked very good in their wins.
And the thing is, you expect a lot out of the Rogue AD carry because of Hansama's performance at Worlds 2021, how good it was. And you look at the performance, you're like, wow, Rogue have no chance of finding an AD carry that can slot in. But Trymbi stepping up, Comps found confidence. There's so many nuances to this matchup where you have to piece together the puzzles. Bot lane, jungle, top lane, yes, but mid lane is also such a huge factor. Humanoid versus Larssen. Humanoid from Mad Lions against Larssen, still on Rogue, who's on Fnatic now. So it's a very odd mid matchup to me because I think if mid's ahead or supports can get towards mid, that affects bots, right? So it's a very snowbally domino effect kind of game.
Without knowing the draft, who will win and briefly why?
I think Fnatic will win. I think they have a much kind of more one-dimensional playstyle where I think their bot lane will win in isolation 2v2, and they have to track Malrang very well. If they can track Malrang in the early game and not fall behind, they should be pretty handy.
Yeah, I agree with Caedrel. I think Fnatic are probably going to win out on the bot side. I'm curious though if we heard it like on the Euphoria, Odoamne gets unlocked, and maybe that's the game plan for Rogue.
So if Rogue can surprise today, not only will they shut my analysts up, they'll shut Selfmade up as well. Starting 6-0 is something only 8 teams have managed in European history. And tonight, either Rogue or Fnatic will follow in their footsteps. It's the battle of the undefeated squads, Rogue versus Fnatic.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Wow, what a pleasure to be casting such a high-stakes game. It might be a best of one, but it's a prestigious best of one. Myself and Guldborg are here to bring you the call. Just a brief moment before we get into game. It seems like we're just a tiny bit delayed here, but exciting for so many reasons, Guldborg. Because we look at these two teams, and they're both 5-0. They both faced almost the exact same schedule. 4 or 5 teams are exactly the same, but such different stories. Because Rogue, no one really expected to be 5-0. With the amount of talent they lost, I don't think anybody would have put them at top of the table. I certainly did not. Fnatic on the opposite side, it's not surprising that they're 5-0. It's surprising how they've been getting these wins.
Okay, so let's dissect that because you're completely right. On Fnatic's side, a lot of people looked at it. That's a super team on paper. We expect them to do great. But on Rogue's side, having to fill in the slot that inspired left of Malrang was a thing a lot of people didn't think he could do. They thought there was going to be a lot of doubters. They thought the Trymbi down towards the bot side was going to look weaker without Hansama. But as Caedrel mentioned as well on the analyst desk, like these people has just slotted in. They filled this role almost to perfection for this team, letting Rogue evolve with them too.
Absolutely the case. We heard from Odoamne on Euphoria. You heard it from Dagda on the desk as well. The team is working incredibly well together, jump-starting that progress into the league. They've been coming out swinging, looking like a worthy contender for this Fnatic lineup. Fnatic on the opposite side, what's been crazy about them, I highlighted it earlier or alluded to it earlier, but they're not just the bloodthirsty maniacs of Fnatic Gold. It's not the animal style of the Whippo days. It can be aggressive, but it can also be incredibly controlled. We meme about it, but Hylissang is not dying. He's a KDA king now. It's like he absorbed Reckless's power, and now he's unstoppable.
You know what's really impressive about Fnatic too is how calm they can take it in an early game, and then how fast they can up the pace in the mid game. Like we just saw the game they had not too long ago against Misfits, where it was fairly even in the early game until they hit 10 minutes. Then at 23 minutes, game was over.
Yep, absolutely. Quick disclaimer. The mist ban that you are seeing there from Rogue, that is a graphical error. Sorry about that. It's because Guldborg flamed the graphics team. I'm blaming you. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. It's a Thresh ban. There is no Thresh in this game. So the misban there is just a Thresh, Hylissang's Thresh. Not surprising to see it taken away. We'll see if he's going to move toward the Zillion. In the meantime, a lot of AP mid-lane focused bans here. They do not want to see Humanoid on a Corki or a LeBlanc on the opposite side. Bit of a smattering, but you've got the Caitlyn, you've got the Jace. We'll see what the final ban's going to be.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. We know right now Rogue has seen a lot of priority on towards the Jinx, on towards the Victor as well. It's something that they have highly prioritized from the side of Larssen here. And this is interesting as well because you get Twisted Fate being up and available. 100% pick and ban. This champion is just the exquisite kind of a mid lane champion pick right now.
Yeah. See what the response is going to be. Oftentimes the Sylas to match. The Humanoid, of course, a long-time TF enthusiast. Certainly one of his best champs last season. One of his most picked. See what the option is going to be here for Fnatic. For now, focusing on that incredibly powerful top side. Everyone remembers the game where Mad Lions got their hands on the Diana Renekton. It was incredibly dominant from Elioya. We have to see if Razork can do the same.
And not only that, it's also the fact that this is a patch where Yasuo has just been buffed as well. With 5%, it's not that much, but it does go a little while into it. So with the Renekton coming through, with Diana being in the jungle, one would theorize that an AD laner would come out of the mid lane as well. But on the other side of Rogue, with this Jhin locked in, it kind of tells the story that they want to try and move their pieces up towards the top side. Maybe they want to potentially punish a lane like a blind pick Renekton coming through from Wunder here. Obviously, Renekton can be flexed. It is an option.
Well, it's certainly an option. And one thing that these teams share, as much as they have differences, is that they both pretty much ignore that top side. Those top laners we expect to be playing on an island. Interesting that Fnatic, having normally the counter pick that they could have saved for top lane to set that up, opted for the blind pick instead. Rogue, of course, responding with the Gwen for Odoamne. Now, keeping your minds open for the potential flex after we saw it for Selfmade. You assume they're scrimming some teams probably near the top of the table, so it's possible that Rogue also have that up their sleeve. But for right now, strong independent top laner who don't need no ganks on both sides. But we've got the semi-global presence of TF, the long range of Jhin. It feels like pretty open seas for Rogue in terms of where they can go with his composition.
Yeah, the thing is, even if you ban out supports here, you end up banning out some of your own supports as well, just because no one has picked up that role just yet. On the side of Rogue, they can try and attack this bot lane now from Fnatic. Usually we see them go for a priority bot lane where they know they can play off it. They've opted into not doing that this time around with Fnatic. So, Rogue, who will you punish? Are you going for the AD carries that's still up and available? Or are you trying to trip down some of Hylissang's champion pool, like the Rakan, like the Cillian? It's so deep, it's so vast.
And I thought top lane might be the most important blind pick in this game, but I forgot who was in the bottom lane, Guldborg. Because counter pick support for Hylissang and bot is going to be massive. Need to see what Rogue are going to respond with. What are they going to opt to blind pick here? Now, we've talked a lot about buff Janna. And one man who's been an enthusiast on the range support front has been Trymbi. So I'm just planting that seed in your mind.
Honestly, it wouldn't be too bad against the composition of Fnatic right now. Diana wants to dive in immediately, probably with a shockwave on top of her. Renekton, if he can play around the range of this champion, he's going to have a horrible time. So it's not a bad shout, and I would love to see it. But hyper AD carries have been taken away now with the Jinx, with the Aphelios off the table for Upset. Makes the most sense just to pick your AD carry here. You already know the opponent has a Jhin. You can save the last pick for your support.
Oh, I like it. Lucian, very aggressive pick. Maybe could have opted for the Varus. Again, we've seen the more lethality-focused Varus. We've seen the on-hit Varus. Could have tried to match a little bit of poke with poke in terms of Varus versus Jhin. Instead, full-on aggression on the bottom side. Holding my breath here, waiting to see what the Rogue bot lane is going to lock in the support position. Obviously have the jungle pick to come through as well, or the potential reveal of a Gwen flex. But for now, it's just going to be Viego, which we assume will go into the jungle. And really, you can tell how important this support pick is, and that they're picking the Viego first, letting this timer run out, knowing that this bot lane pick is crucial. Doesn't look like they're going to throw any curveballs, instead going for something pretty safe and standard in the Nautilus.
That's the thing. Right now, you don't have any form of immediate engage on Rogue. Unless, okay, he's getting excited. The hover is coming through. He might have called it. Will it get locked in? 3, 2, 1, and...
That's the power! And it won't be fasting in the top lane. God bless, I hate that strategy. Now, I didn't... Wow.
So, to anyone who does not know the Janna changes, her Q was recently changed with the speed of it. And it's super annoying to play against because normally as an AD player, you're super familiar with how to dodge a Janna Q. This time around, it goes through so fast, you can almost always guaranteed hit your knockup. It gives you extra shielding value if you CC an opponent before dropping the shield. You no longer get movement speed all the time, but you do still get movement speed towards your own champions. But Janna, just know that she has been adjusted, and it's not usually the same Janna that you might be familiar with.
Yeah. Okay, quick note. During Champ Select, players reported they were not able to swap champions. So League officials have remade Champion Select with the same picks and bans off air, and we should be hitting the Rift shortly once we hit our delay. So, something to keep our eyes on. Of course, two very interesting compositions. Apologies for the delay, but in the meantime, the good news about picks and bans is it gives us so much to talk about. And to me, having mostly banned new Janna, because I hate that champion, I'm really ready to see what it's going to look like in the pro landscape, because those buffs seem so crazy and seem so much more interactive. No longer the Janna of most of our solo queue games, where you walk up, play AP Pantheon, and W people over and over again. You have to hit tornadoes now if you want that max shield value. There's a little more skill involved. Frankly, I'm ready to see what Trymbi can bring to the table.
It's easier to hit now with the Q. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, go. We have to talk about the reality hammer, man. You're getting the reality hammer out.
There is no reality where Janna and skill is in the same name.
All right, man. You're just raining on the hopes and dreams of all 50 Janna players out there. Welcome back to the desk.
That's us. That's
I take my jacket off when we goes away from us because it's warm. Of course, in the meantime, while we wait, we are gearing up the analyst desk to talk a little bit more about the draft, because you kind of heard what we have to say, and we want to save our tasty nuggets. That was a horrible phrase. I'm so sorry. For in-game. So while we wait... Wow, awkward pauses everywhere. Let's head over to the analyst desk. Please save me from myself, please.
What is going on?
I'm sorry, tasty nuggets is probably my favorite thing you've said all year long, Drakos. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have just joined us, there was a problem during Picks and Bans, which is being remade and resorted as we speak. Welcome back. I do have, of course, Caedrel and Dagda with me.
Are you crying?
Let's touch base.
You're right.
Let's talk a little bit about the draft and how it played out. Twisted Fate first lock in, and then I think the bottom lane is where I'm the most interested in. But what was your take?
Well, I'm a bit Fnatic favorite from that draft. I feel like they got Renekton Diana was 1-2, and you're playing a TF comp, you have to play for top, but you're playing double AP solo laner into a Renekton. And then when I'm, as a TF connoisseur myself, Dagda, if I have a range support like Janna as TF, I'm shaking a bit here because I'm like, well, how can I even play for bot actually as well? So I'm a bit worried for Rogue here. You have a losing bot 2v2. I think the Nami out-sustains the Janna and gets the push with the Lucian. Top side, Renekton Diana is quite scary. The good news is they have early push with Gwen, but then again, your Orianna pushes in TF. So I feel like team fights will be okay for Rogue because they have Janna into Renekton Diana and all this dive. But lanes and early games seem pretty difficult.
Dagda, just before you pick up, let me tell you the win-loss for Larssen on Twisted Fate in Europe. 6 wins, 1 loss, with an all-time KDA of 14. That is an impactful pick, and that was the first pick there, of course.
Yeah, and I love the TF first pick, right? And I think, again, this, as Caedrel was saying, gives you the option to play around topside, and was something that, again, we heard on Euphoria was maybe this is something Rogue wants to try and get into later on in the split, and now we're starting to see that they have the opportunity to play on that topside. But I 100% agree with Caedrel. Give yourself options. And something that pairs really well with the Jhin is something like a Leona on that bot side, right? And even if you don't have the TF involved, just a Jhin Leona into gank setup for a Viego, it gives you really nice ways to play around that bot side, and it could have set you up really well. And even, especially against something squishy like the Nami, that's the easiest gank to go for, but we just don't see it. I feel like Janna, as Caedrel's pointed out, doesn't really facilitate the early to mid-game plan and kind of leaves me with a bit of a head-scratcher.
Rogue have a couple things going for them, right? TF ult with Everfrost Rapid Fire. Jhin can follow up with W. Problem is, I think that Rogue maybe blundered in the draft by not picking their full top side on 1-2-3. You first pick TF, they go Renekton Diana. You need to match top and jungle on the 2-3. You need to pick something like Lee Sin that's good with TF, or Xin Zhao, which got banned away, and maybe match something top, something like a Jace or something aggressive. I think Jace was banned now I think about it, so some kind of top laner. Gwen could work, maybe something like a Gnar, something like a Wukong, something that you can actually play for. Because double AP solo laner into Renekton, I'm a bit worried.
Right.
I think they should have gone full top side, because even when they went 4-5 with their bot lane Fnatic, they still got a winning bot matchup.
The thing that I love about this context, of course, is depending on how Rogue played this out, now we have the hindsight of the draft. So we need to evaluate what Rogue do. Let's turn our attention to this Diana pick. It is the first career game ever for Razork on Diana. We've seen the impact it's had. Diana Renekton is absolutely terrifying. What are your expectations for him in particular, and maybe getting Fnatic through some of the early game?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big play here, is trying to play around that top side. I think you've got a reasonably good job here for just Lucian Nami to do its own thing and try and set up the Renekton so that then he can actually take over against this Gwen, because there is the opportunity for Gwen to kind of get rolling against the Renekton. She does win out in the early levels against the Renekton. So I certainly think that giving that aid is going to help out a pretty significant amount.
Oh, there you go.
I was just going to say as well, real quick, that the Rogue composition, this is very similar to the Vitality draft that we saw, which was, hey, play for strong topside skirmish, see if you can try and win out. And Fnatic did struggle against this, so it feels like Rogue are taking a page out of the Vitality book.
Yeah, well, the thing with the Vitality draft is a good reference. Yeah. The Vitality draft had TF and Renekton and Kiana, right? So you have two carries you can play for with the TF. That's why I worry for, Rogue that they don't have options. But there's always options in League of Legends. The way the game works is it works in turns. Whether you're basing first, basing second, you get a wave pushed in when they do. You have TP advantage. Lanes can go very differently. You can go for creative ganks like we saw Zanzara do. 3 camps into mid gank, very common pathing to unlock the game and find these plays. And if you think of Rogue, I think they played a game against G2 last year where they had 3 pushing lanes. And yes, 3 pushing lanes are great, but it also means your lanes are vulnerable to ganks. So I think Razork might have a tough job juggling these lanes, playing for topside, get Renekton ahead. Lucian Nami has to push. So having a lot of options can sometimes be a bit dangerous.
Dagda, I'm going to preface this with this is not a fair setup. When I take a look at Hylissang's Nami performance historically, 6 games played, 1 of which was a win. When we saw him playing Zilean, he played Zilean as an engager.
That's very true, actually, now that I think about it.
Let's talk a little bit about Hylissang on a pick like Nami, something that is potentially an easy target to be made. What do you make of the pickup, and of course, what Hylissang will have to do differently in this game to ensure he's not easily picked off?
Yeah, I think the big one here is obviously just the fact that you, at least with the Zilean, had that speed up that allowed him to play that much more of an engaged style.
To speed himself.
Yeah, and kind of lend itself to the new hashtag new Hilly kind of thing. But I think the big thing here is like, okay, well, you're going to be trying to play keep away for a lot of the Viego and the DF and trying to like separate as Twisted Fate goes in, Nami wave goes out, and you're trying to stop that engage. The big problem is if you're the pick, well, then what happens, right? You can get picked off very quick. So I think for Hilly, it's going to be much more about grouping and making sure you plays that death ball and denying the TF access.
I'm going to count how many times Hylissang flashes forwards on Nami, because I'm going to count how many go back and how many go forwards, and I have a gut feeling he's going to have more going forward.
I think we might be getting close to gameplay, right? And as I'm hoping that we are, I'm now going to give you an opportunity to pivot on your prediction. Going into the game, there was a fair amount of confidence here that Fnatic were going to pick this up. Now, we've seen the draft. Is it still the same strength?
See now, Trevor, I have this thing on my streams or even on LEC Analyst desk at a World Finals perhaps once upon a time that every time I predict one team to win, the complete opposite happens. So I'm going to stick with Fnatic, but Rogue might win just because I predict Fnatic.
But what
I swear
if you
it's a
flip
curse.
and you get both?
Wow. No. This is now the prediction that counts. Caedrel is sticking. He's going with Fnatic. Dagda, do you change your prediction or stick with Fnatic?
I'm going to stick with Fnatic. I think the team fight is just super strong for them. And I think that's where a lot of these two teams find their victories. And with the ease of access Fnatic have, it feels like a go-to.
Well, I tell you what, that wasn't the most convincing of predictions that I've heard from my analysts. It's time to find out who will stay undefeated or who will lose. It's time for Fnatic versus Rogue.
And here we go, Rogue versus Fnatic, undefeated. Only one can keep that streak alive. It might not be match of the week, but it is certainly match of the day. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're thinking, damn, I love EU supports. I love all the engaged champions they play. But let me show you the other side of EU supports, dear audience. That's right. It's Janna. It's Nami. It's the fish, the wing girl. We're going to see how it works out.
Look how fast it is. It's so fast.
Keep in mind, okay, so quick Janna highlights. Q time to destination is shorter, which in turn means that, yes, the travel speed is faster. Q go a little faster. Maximum range, basically the same. Minimum range up a bit. Important thing, Zephyr still obnoxious. Yes, AP Pantheon Sphere if you played long enough to play Pantheon before rework. The E, the big thing is any slow or knock-up from her abilities specifically will increase her shielding and healing power, which means Alt E and any other shielding or healing she is able to pick up. So something to keep your eyes on. Good news is, as long as you're in W range, very easy to get that value, very easy to proc that. Otherwise, functionally the same Janna that you know and love, just a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and let's not forget, you always pair it up with the Glacial Augment as well, so you CC enemy AD carry while you're in those icy rays. That's 15% damage reduction onto allies. Obviously, you're still taking full damage, but that's why it's so strong, and it's easily difficult as Trymbi steals away the CS.
Yeah, and the big thing about it as well is that immediate Monsoon cast to deny the Diana entry to the backline, to deny the Renekton entry to the backline, something to keep your eye on as we get through. And that right there is the power of the change. Minor damage, but it's about sending a message sometimes in the bottom lane. In the bottom lane, one of the places we expected to focus here at Guldborg, to the surprise of no one, because at the end of the day, the supports on the bottom side of the map, Week 1 and Week 2 winner of the Euphoria MVP, just to call it out now as Level 2 comes in. Two bot lanes who have been making a name for themselves so far and definitely centering that focus right now, at least, on those supports.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I think Trymbi stepping up immensely for Rogue these past 2 weeks. I think a lot of people had question marks to him and what he can do, but once again, question marks. People have already always questioned Hylissang's playstyle a little bit.
Sure.
We've already heard the desk talk about him now. He's been such an incredible performer for Fnatic in these early stages, and the fact that he's now gone on to a style where he can still play aggressive once we reach that mid to late game, but showing restraint in the early game is definitely one of the things that's keeping him dangerous, because one of the things that Hyli has always been so good at, it's been the way he moves himself around in the mid game. It's been how he decides his roam timing and how he positions himself on the map. Something that we've been very fond of, even on engages, but also on Zillions as well, just moving forward.
Yeah, the Zillion definitely feels like a breath of fresh air to the Hylissang playstyle, something different, not the all-in aggro that we got used to seeing in years and seasons past. Not that it wasn't successful. Fnatic historically very strong team, and certainly Hylissang was pretty successful on UOL as well, if you want to go back that far. But drawing our attention now to other parts of the map. Malrang moving into mid lane, this could be big. You can see Humanoid lane advantage here. He got the counter pick on the Orianna, but here comes the stun. Holding on to it for so long, it's clean. Humanoid now going to be in trouble. Red buff ticking. That should just be it. No, the shield. Malrang walks away with his life. It's clean. Rogue excellently played. Malrang holding on to that stun just long enough so Humanoid couldn't get any more value out of that flash. Perfect play.
Yeah, once again, the junglers not mimicking each other's jungle pathing was reversed. So Humanoid, I guess they tracking from Malrang in the early game just wasn't there. They knew he was going to be on the top side scuttle, but respect just didn't come through there. Nice first blood. Easy pick up, just flashing forward with a stun card.
Yeah. Well played, good patience again coming in from Malrang. An important matchup as well in the jungle, because Malrang has been an explosive player, you know, sometimes falling behind, but always one gank in the lanes. You heard about it on the desk, very important. Razork on the opposite side, while one of the mini stars on a star-studded lineup, we haven't seen the same form that we saw from Misfits from Razork this season, but keep in mind, he's on one of these hugely powerful picks. The Diana Renekton combo on the side of Fnatic, something we have to respect. Time to see now if Razork, with the CS advantage, his individual lead for himself, can start to fire back somewhere on the map.
Especially because he's going to be the driving force. He's going to be the one going in first. He's going to be the one looking for these engages, because there is no other engage on your team. It's either fighting a shockwave or it's you starting the engage with your ultimate. So for Razork, it's not only just playing about lanes, it's about finding that pickup in team fights. And I will say, team fighting and Fnatic in general, it's been something they've been incredibly stellar at. We saw Razork as well on the Viego against Vitality, completely mopping them up in a fight that was looking lost.
Yeah, absolutely. And Fnatic, again, while we do see stylistically a bit of a difference from Summer, combined kills per minute, just the amount of kills in the game, you can see less explosive early games, less deaths in the early games. Only going about even in kills and deaths at 15 we see here in Spring. But the combined kills per minute much slower. Fnatic, not a team that is afraid to play a slower, more controlled game, and as you highlighted earlier, blow open those leads, those small individual leads in the mid game. That said, as we check in, Guldborg, right now, things a little bit difficult for Odoamne on the top side. You can see Wunder got lane prio, was winning out there, has now TP'd back, and is continuing that pressure on the top side.
Yeah, you can see from the resets right now, Rogue, they still want to hover around this midway lane, and Razork might get caught off guard by the Mazoon.
Flash out there. Good early burning the flash, and again, we highlighted Razork, the potential to make big plays on this Diana. Level 6 is right around the corner, but now because of that little fumble, because he lost that flash, that playmaking impact is significantly reduced. He has to land that E. He has to get close enough to hit that E if he wants to get that nice combo.
And another thing that's really pivotal by the Rogue gank that worked in the mid lane is that this Twisted Fate would no longer just get pushed in by the Orianna. This time around, you flipped the matchup a little, which means now that you've hit level 6, you can move first.
Ulti coming out, Renekton the potential to 2v1, the quick flash out, Malrang again, making it work on the top side. This man is unstoppable. Razork firing back on the bottom side with a dragon, but 2 quick kills to Rogue.
And Malrang's just the one making it work, as you're saying. It's this jungler that came in to fill the shoes of Inspired, who's usually a jungler that would use the pressure of his lanes to then soak experience and gold into himself. This time around, it's different. Razork, no flash,
locked
remember?
Up, instant tornado to stop any potential follow-up. Now here comes the Viego as well. Razork, oh, caught in no man's land. The Ignite ticking. Here comes yet another stun. This one not going to connect. Razork running. He tries to sidestep, but there's no room to escape, and the heal from Hilly does not come in time.
Brilliant early game once again from Rogue, and once again, it's all around Malrang. He didn't get an assist on it, but he was still part of it. And Larssen, so mobile here as well.
And again, huge credit to Malrang for making these plays happen. But we're seeing the Rogue game plan come to fruition. Flash in, the exhaust, shockwave onto 2,
Oh
clean
my
from
God,
Humanoid.
he hit it.
But the CC, again, the tornado, the follow-up, they just make it look so easy.
And he hits the stun right before the shockwave connects too, so despite getting dragged in, he still finds it. If he doesn't do that in time, it would have just been cancelled out by the CC of the shockwave. But he sets Larssen up so brilliantly.
And here's the thing. We know Fnatic have some incredibly strong combos. We know their bot lane is an absolute powerhouse. No doubt, one of the best, if not the best, bot lane in the league. But Rogue, set up to neutralize that lane, have absolutely done so. Yes, Comp is falling behind. Yes, he's struggling a little bit in terms of individually. But the top side of Rogue is flourishing. That is their strong point on the map. In turn, though, we have to see what Upset and Hylissang can do with the lead they've been allowed to generate.
Exactly, because, I mean, we wanted to talk about this bot side, but due to the nature of the picks that's also come out, it's not just going to be about the 2v2. Well, it still is, but it's on a disengaging front. And because of this, it's more facilitating on the way of comp, where on Fnatic's side's Upset on this Lucian, he needs to have this lead because he's the aggressor.
Yep, and you can see now in the meantime, Razork, he got that dragon. Now, if he can sneak away this Herald too, he's not doing too bad. Keep in mind, it's about 1.5k gold difference. We're going to hold that thought. I was about to talk about 80 carries, but Hylissang might be the guy to watch. Okay, Malrang.
Hold it.
You done?
I think he is.
You done?
And he's looking.
He's not done. Hilly, an absolute mad lad. What is he doing? Oh, a lot of confidence there. Bubble not going to connect. Buying time. Malrang has been baited into a false sense of security. He thought Hilly was having a Hilly moment, but no, he was not. Outsmarted, outplayed, and shut down.
Oh, you think I'm just a little Nami alone? Well, joke's on you. The rest of the team is here. And just like that, they pick it up. So great way of Hylissang to just bait that one, holding onto the flash for so long. Either forcing Malrang to use the Heartbreaker forward or using it there, trying to get away. Now Wunder getting aggressive on the top side, but Seems like nothing much more is going to come out of that. He's having a slow push himself. You can see on the minimap right now, Larssen is moving up, but Destiny Gate not available, and the entire river right now for Fnatic is lit up by pink ward, so not much to do in the instance.
Yeah, critical wards for Fnatic to have on the top side. And again, that play by Hylissang, buying that time, baiting Malrang in. You know why Malrang was feeling confident there. He had made so many plays work before it, but that bait is key. Keep your eyes on mid lane, though. Razork waiting off to the side. From downtown, the Tornado locks him up. The follow-up, the CC. The Shockwave pulling him back. Humanoid now knocked back into team. Razork trying to get something done. Humanoid just needs to lay down as much damage as humanly possible. It means he's going to get 1 kill back. Overall, 1-for-1, but Fnatic or Rogue committing a lot of resources to make that play happen.
A little bit disjointed there. You can see Trymbi trying to keep the situation alive and himself alive with the ultimate, but in the end, it's just not good enough. Hylissang does still have flash.
Level 6. This should be easy. Clean kill, clean pickup. Rogue, in the end, coming out on top in that one. 2-for-1 when you take in the whole play. Is now Malrang stepping forward. Upset gonna run away from a Nami. Didn't expect to be saying that one, but it is also Viego, so respect.
Yeah, you can see the other side of the map. Razork trying to clean up the blue buff, but coming out on the replay. This is the Q speed. Once again, brilliant setup by Trymbi. Look at that. Humanoid does have flash, but just does not have the reaction in time for it. And soon to come through, trying to knock Humanoid back in so they can connect with the ultimate, but Razork being in a position to capitalize on that early ultimate.
And here's the thing, Hylissang got away with murder in the last play, really out-baiting Malrang in. This time they found the punish. Checking in, though, right now, you got the Everfrost coming in for Larssen. Gonna make it that much easier to set up these plays and make them work. Similarly, though, Rocket Belt on the opposite side for Razork. Diana only level 8, but a lead over Malrang. Can start to see if Razork can start to take over, start to take off in some of these fights.
But that's the difference in style of these junglers too. You can see Malrang, he's been so proactive on the map, trying to get his laners ahead, while on the other side of the map, Razork, every time he sees Malrang in a lane, he goes to counter jungle. So it's only natural that we've come to this point in time, and now with Razork finally having built up his mythic item, this is where we need to start seeing him be aggressive, and they're looking for the bot lane with Comp.
All right, Hylissang waiting there. He's going to auto-attack away. Not sure if they spotted Razork, however. This is going to be big. Comp could be in trouble. Wave going to go in. Comp really no way out of that one. No Gale Force for him. They're going to balk away now. TP coming in. Odoamne on the way forward. Hylissang might go down here. Bubble goes in. Will not connect. Here comes Malrang as well. Hilly cannot get over the wall. You can see he wanted to go for the flash there, but it will not happen. Razork now in the middle of everyone. Orianna just going to take this time to push in the mid lane. Razork going to have to get creative if he wants to get his way out.
Humanoid coming as well.
Leaping in, he's going to try and turn a burn here. That's big damage. That's a Janna, but they've locked him up. They've reduced the damage to the allies. Trymbi going to be in trouble. He's burning. The ulti comes out to keep him alive. Razork desperate to finish the kill, but he just cannot get it done. Jhin snare coming in. Odoamne should just pick this one up. Not a lot for Razork to do here. Taking their time. They're going to finish him off. He goes down, and the Herald, the cooldown, you have to keep your eyes on because there's now 30 seconds left on the respawn timer, and that was already running out.
Yeah, he has to use it immediately. As soon as he spawns there, they get the Drake, they get 2 kills down towards the bottom, and Rogue, once again, early game just going in their favor. Not the biggest gold lead, though, despite the kill lead. It all comes down to the laner once again. You take a look at Humanoid, up in CS. You take a look at Wunder, up in CS. The same goes for the jungle. But they need to start finding plays as well that works for them. You can't just win on these lane advantages. And Rogue, brilliant presence of mind from the side of Comp.
Picture what we need to watch here, because in the meantime, while we're watching this replay, exchange in the mid lane, just going to be the Shockwave, though, focusing back in on this one. Razork, you thought this was his moment, but the TP punish here with Malrang coming bottom as well. It works out so well for Rogue.
It definitely does. And then Larssen also around, as you can see in the minimap, he's just going to be flanking them here. Razork, knowing it's a very dire situation, he has to turn it. And he gets so close on Trymbi as well, but Trymbi just barely keeps himself alive. The ultimate, I think the extra shield as well. No, this is just a flash that's going to come out. And just like that, to take care of Razork, they get the Drake. They lose a little bit on the top side of the map, but all in all, pretty favorable from the side of Rogue.
Well, it's such a difficult game because, again, when you look at the CS, Razork is obliterating Malrang, but when you look at the in-game impact, 5 kills for Malrang. He just got a Drake after that back end of that fight. He's still so massive for the team. That was a brief window where Razork was up in itemization. He had the Rocket Belt, but because ultimately he didn't get anything done with it, that advantage falls away. And Fnatic, they're dead even in gold. That's the important thing to note. We're 13 minutes in and this game is dead even, but they have to find a way to use some of these strong champions to get more work done.
You can see they're looking for it right now. They've gained control at the top side with all the vision, and Malrang, he's down towards the bottom side, so this is going to be a change in plays. We get it here in the picture.
2 fights on the top side. Odoamne, he's going to use the mist. He's going to buy himself a bit of time, and they're going to turn it. Humanoid not going to get anything in exchange for that fight on the bot side. The Nami's already dropped. Upset now has to run for his life. Curtain call comes out. Split fights. Odoamne taking for the ignite. He will not drop. He will fall in the end. I take that back. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, see what else can happen there. Absolute chaos across the map. Both teams confident as they make plays on either side.
Yeah, but once again, a global 2-for-1 into the favor of Rogue. They keep getting the lead with these kills, but once again, what's the pickup? There's farm in the mid lane that Humanoid is picking up. There's farm in the jungle that Razork is picking up. So you can see they stay even in the gold, despite losing out on these fights.
And that's something we have to watch, because again, 10-3, it looks intimidating. 4-1 and 2 Viego, it looks intimidating, but keep your eyes on the gold. Such a small difference between these teams. And then we have to talk about scaling, and we have to talk about fight execution. And when I look at these teams, I see a Diana with an Orianna ball strapped to her back. And if I am an immobile character like Jhin, like TF, I'm starting to sweat.
It's about playing around with the intel, because setup around every objective is going to be so key. If you miss out on just one VoD, where the Diana is allowed entrance to the fight, that's where it all goes wrong. But luckily for you, you do have the Destiny Gate from the Twisted Fate to give you this intel. You don't have to use it as a flank or as a roam.
Wunder. Trading back. Almost a jinx. We just said different players.
Oh, yeah.
Razork on the top side. Again, observers! One man can only cast one fight! Odoamne is going to be in trouble here. Should just be a one-shot combo. They're going to pull it back. They're going to fish for it. Rogue on the bottom side, killing Humanoid. It's a perfect one-for-one trade. Mirrored map state almost exactly.
They keep trading it off once again, but Rift Herald is up for the taking from the side of Fnatic, should they want to go for that one. So in the grand scheme of objectives, they get the turret, they get the neutral objectives, while on the side of Rogue right now, looking like they can push down for the turret, but they're not getting any more than that. Larssen trying to see if he can pick up a blue buff, but there's nothing to be taken.
Hovering in the darkness, keep in mind, because comp stayed, Fnatic are actually pretty far ahead when it comes to tempo. They've got their bot lane already moving into the mid lane. It should be an easy Herald pickup. So at the end of the day, it feels like Fnatic are still coming out on top. Overall, you can see, though, Rogue pulling ahead in the gold a little bit. And I think we have to go back to expectations for both these teams, because it's easy, again, to look at the 5-0s on both sides, to look at the fact that they have played 4 out of the 5 same opponents and say, this should be a neck-and-neck even matchup. But let's cast our minds back to the start of the split and our expectations. Fnatic, one of 2 super teams on paper. They have delivered. That was the expectation. How they did it, yes, creative, something new, but that was the expectation. They were expected to win. Rogue, they lost Inspired, they lost Hans Sama, and here they are going toe-to-toe against one of those super teams.
Yeah, it's definitely admirable for Rogue. I thought at best they're going to be middle of the pack, or at least it was going to take a longer time before they got into this point, because this team right now looks like a team that's played together for a longer period of time. And now with 17 seconds on towards the Drake, you can see this setup as well for Rogue. Right now, the vision is dominated for them. They've dominated the entrances by the river, by the bot side, and by the blue buff. So 5 seconds, you can see they're trying to get the mid lane prio, and Malrang is just going to be starting up the Drake for himself.
And this is a massive trial. Again, you heard Odoamne talk about it. This is the week where they have to play the big teams. They have to play Fnatic, they have to play Vitality. This is the week where they really have to prove themselves. If Rogue can beat both of their opponents, they are the best team in the LEC at this moment. But if they fall flat, they might be another team in the middle of the pack, something we'll have to keep our eye on. In the meantime, on the top side, 3 members going in. That TP is very much unleashed. Looks like they're going to try to pressure in and break down this tier 2. Fnatic total control of the top side of the map. Trymbi over the wall.
The mid side. Malrang coming in from the flank as well. He needs to be careful. Shockwave.
Trymbi going to be in trouble. Ulti coming out just to disengage. Malrang fishing for a kill onto Hylissang, just trying to find that one. Gold card, no, red card. Locked in. Larssen wants to finish it up. Coling now coming out. They're backing away. Fnatic being shepherded into the top side of the map. Pushed out of the Baron buff and the river. Back and forth here. Rogue holding their own.
But yeah, you're exactly right. They're forced up towards the top side of the map, so they have no way of defending this mid lane turret right now. They might not be getting any kills, but they win the fight. They pressure out Fnatic, and they pick up an objective for themselves, still keeping the gold lead at bay, or ahead right now from the side of Rogue, but just a little bit.
And we'll have to see. Fnatic, so many great tools to teamfight, but they haven't been able to find or force a teamfight yet. They're not close to Soul Point. Maybe if Rogue try to overforce, they can try to punish. Similar story with Baron. But team fighting, what we know Fnatic excel in, regardless of if Hylissang is playing Pyke or Nautilus or whatever the hell he wants, we know this is an incredible team-fighting team. Rogue have shown some strength there, but expectations would put Fnatic a cut above, and certainly with a more powerful composition if they can find the right avenues, something we have to keep our eye on. It's only 18 minutes into the game, Guldborg. I feel like we've been casting this game for 45 minutes. It's so tense.
Yeah, this is an epic tale that's unfolding on front of our very eyes right now. Trymbi trying to unleash with the tornado, but it's not only just about the team fight, Drakos. It's also about the fact that Larssen right now, he finished up 2 items for himself. The rapid fire cannon on the Twisted Fate. Your ideal scenario on Rogue right now is try to avoid this team fight, get a pick potential, get a man advantage, then take the team fight when you finally have the tools that allows you to do so. So you can see having Larssen in a side lane, keeping your bot lane in the mid lane, allowing you to push out these side waves. Since the mid lane turret is already gone, you can move around the pieces easy on the map.
And I want to highlight the supports again one more time. I think one of the big differences, both these champions similar in their supportive playstyle, but the big thing for Trymbi, so many more tools to peel for himself. We've seen that Monsoon used to save himself over and over again. Yes, you have the bubble and the tidal wave. Bubble hard to land in a chaotic fight. And tidal wave, it knocks him up, but it doesn't knock him away. And you can see Hylissang, the way he was maneuvering between lanes in the early game, the way he's always trying to move around and get vision alone as a very squishy support, can come back to bite him in these mid-game scenarios if he's not right next to another Fnatic member because of the TF, because of the Jhin, because of Malrang waiting in seemingly every corner all of the time. But now Fnatic using their Herald in the mid lane, using that push, and it looks like they are just going to reset off of it, not going to push for anything greater as that bot wave must be answered. Humanoid moving down there to pick it up now.
That's the thing, right? They're trying to get objectives on the other side of the map, but Larssen, knowing that the enemy had the mid lane priority, has the possibility to collapse on him as well. Just push it in the bot side, recalls. They just take care of the side lane, so both teams right now within a goal lead of 1k. Right now, I would say the map state is a little bit favorable from the side of Fnatic. Just taking a look at the vision on the minimap. 1 minute 40 seconds until the next Cloud Drake will spawn. If Rogue is able to pick it up, that would be soul point for them. Right now, you can see they're still fishing. Malrang, Trymbi, they're moving together as a unit on the minimap right now. They're trying to find these pickups, trying to shadow the Twisted Fate.
And this is that back and forth, right as you call that vision out, Rogue begin to move in to try to sweep some of it away. That said, a lot of Fnatic control. That ward in the mid lane, something that we have to highlight. If that's not sweeped, keep your eyes on the teleport cooldowns. Wunder can find his way right into that backline. Similar story for Humanoid if Rogue overstay, if Rogue over push. Something that has to be respected, and there it is, finally getting swept away.
1 minute, and now you can see they really need to come in and take control of the enemy jungle as well. It's quite often not enough only to take advantage of the river. You need to have the bushes warded out. You need to have all the intel for the flanks. Right now, taking over the bot side. You can see Odoamne getting aggressive down towards the river. Right now, Fnatic, they're just clumped up. But remember, they have a really good teamfight composition. 2 items have been finished up for majority of the members. It's going to be interesting to see how they will allow themselves to have entrance to this fight as Fnatic is clearing out the last vision here in the jungle.
Knock up there, but again, Rogue, they've got a lot of tools to blow up one member, but they can't walk into that pinch against Humanoid's Orianna, against the Diana. If they group up against Fnatic's composition, they will get popped like a balloon. Super easy for the Diana, as well as the Orianna to make it happen. If they split, however, easy for Rogue to pick them apart. Fnatic trying to bully in, trying to bait Rogue into picking a fight around this dragon, but Rogue smarter than that. They're not going to walk into that pit. They're going to go for mid lane prio first. They're going to play it by the book.
Yeah, there's so much things you can do for it. They can even abandon this Drake, play up towards the top side, try and take care of turrets, but Fnatic, they're holding their ground as well in the river. There's no vision right now from the side of Rogue. You can see they're trying to use their pink walls just to get access at the first step of the ramp, and just like that, you can see Larssen moving up towards the top side. I think they're just forfeiting this objective.
So hard for them to get in there, and they don't need to take any risks. They can back away. Gold remains even. They can fish for more plays on side lane, but it does get harder the closer they get to that soul. And yes, it is a cloud, but it is impactful. More powerful Fnatic are going to feel in these fights.
But it's definitely a good soul to get on these carries as well, because remember, one of the issues right now that the Fnatic composition has with the Rogue composition is lessening the space between them. For the Renekton, there's so much that's keeping him at bay. You get that extra movement speed from ulting, that can solve your issues. Same for Diana, the part of you where you can stick to the target when you finally get that movement speed when you ult. So I definitely say this Cloud Soul still has its value from the side of Fnatic, although you still obviously could have preferred others.
I think most would, but we'll see here.
I agree with you.
I would say at least Chemtech's gone, but I actually liked watching Chemtech because I'm, I guess, a bad person.
How dare you get...
Well, you know, you're stuck with me, buddy. Suck it up. You have to pretend to like me for at least another 15 to 20 minutes,
that goes both ways.
There you go. Oh, come on, that's so... I mean, well played, but man, come on. It's not like messing around. Anyway, checking in again. Gold not hugely consequential because it's not too much of a difference. We're mostly looking now at the item spikes instead. You can see 2 items coming through the Viego. Importantly, a lot of magic resistance there to deal with the Diana Orianna combo. You need to survive that initial round of cooldowns. 3 items on Larssen. He can make the Messiah play if he wants to. He has the ulti. He has now got the Zhonya's as well. That's it. Comp now in trouble. Upset going for the Cole. Trymbi in the area. But it's just a trade of cooldowns. Gale Force heal for just Gale Force. So slightly positive for Fnatic.
When you take those on the rest of the map, nothing's really happening. You can see it's slightly become a stalemate this one because no one's really willing to pull the trigger. On the side of Rogue, they're still looking for this pick potential, but with all the vision that Fnatic has gathered up, it's becoming so difficult for them. And from the side of Fnatic, they're just looking for it all the time because they can. They have the easier composition with the team fighting. If they get a pick, that's brilliant. So if you can force out a flash or any summoner spells, you take that leading up to the next objective.
And I think it's important to note that we're in a meta where scaling often feels like it's king. Think back to all those Sion versus Jace lanes where the Sion gets wildly far ahead, but the Jace just outscales. Hold that thought. Now fishing for a little bit more. They're just going to accept that Razork is getting dropped down here. Razork can throw down a few more cooldowns if he just wants to get some damage on the board, but they're going to walk away. Rogue with a clean pick. Fnatic now moving into the mid lane. See what the counterplay is.
Now what can they get with this 40-second death time of Razork? Can they move up towards the top side? Hylissang.
He pulls just a little bit too early, but he leaps over the ultimate. That's going to be crucial. Trymbi, though, getting pulled back. Trymbi, will he get popped? No. Humanoid again getting turned on. No time to escape. And this one in the current call from out of nowhere. Cup, the sniper the team needed. Larssen now unstoppable. You say he just plays scaling. I say maybe he plays a bit of everything.
And there we have it, 3 members death from the side of Fnatic, 20 seconds, 14 seconds now on the side of Razork. They're going to be starting off this Baron. Now, they don't have the most reliable damage from the Jhin as an AD carry, but Gwen still snips this. And it's going to be difficult for Fnatic to find their issue into this one, but they're still trying to contest it, but I don't think they can, Drakos.
Upset walking away. They're not even interested. They have nothing to flip on. They have no smite. Can't do that one. Yes. Jhin is a little bit slow, but the Gwen-Viego combo will be more than enough. And now we have a huge advantage for the side of Rogue. 4K in the lead, Baron buff to back it up, and it all starts with this pick.
And it's just, you know, the members of Fnatic being too far forward here, having to expend the teleport from the Orianna as well on the same side. Razork rather, just caught off guard all by his lonesome. Then Hylissang moving up towards this one. It's so greedy. It's almost a great flash to try and get the help from Humanoid. But then once again, the Janna changes. How fast that Q is greatly helps you. And with Humanoid flashing away.
He could have tanked the bullet.
Leaving him for dead. He probably would have been dead
They
anyway.
both died anyway.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But it looked cool this way.
And again, I think there's a lot of things, whenever anyone wants to do analysis, they like to talk about draft, oh, blah, 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 this draft is X, this draft is winning. But I think the important thing to note here is that Fnatic kind of laid down the gauntlet for Larssen when they said, you can have first pick TF. 100% pick change, you can have it. Because we believe with the value of this Diana Renekton that we can get more done, that we do not need to be scared of you. But that is a 5-0-5 TF for Larssen. That is a 550 gold shutdown. This man has been a part of about 66% of his team's plays. He is popping off.
But I also loved how Rogue responded to it. The early games from Malrang, getting this Twisted Fate ahead to cheat the matchup against the Orianna, because in theory, Fnatic has a good idea here. Keep the Twisted Fate pushed on the tower. He can't go out and roam. We should win on top side. That's just not what happened, because Rogue played such a phenomenal early game.
Yeah. And so difficult now for Fnatic to find avenue to the backside when there's a Baron buff backing up a champ like Jhin, a champ like TF, because there's a Janna right there to peel for them, to stop these engages. And those Trymbi burns both the Tornado and the ulti. Hard to find that access. That said, it's not going to stop Fnatic from fishing for it. You can see Upset and Razork stepping forward there.
Drake spawning, and just, well, now and there we have it. There's no way for Fnatic to, realistically speaking, to contest this one. Bot lane is pushed in, mid lane is pushed in, top side Larssen is even pushing. The tier 2 Druid, and he does pick that up for himself, so 600 gold. Over to the Rogue mid laner as well, while just porting out of that. It seems like Rogue, they're just picking up everything on the map right now, Drakos.
Malrang walking around the side. Now we're seeing the engage come through. Big damage, but Humanoid gives his life for that. Odoamne still standing. TP now coming in. Razork on the backside, almost immediately picked off. Malrang has ultimate up and available. He goes gold and he buys a bit of time with that stopwatch. Wunder now getting shredded through. Rogue tearing through Fnatic. A massive gold lead, a Baron buff might be all they need. Rogue in a battle for who is the best, and the LEC may have just come out on top.
Yeah, all the ultimate ultimates are down right now. Razork does still have his on the Diana, but I don't know if they have the damage to go in with this one. It's not too many minion waves to work with right now, but the next one is coming through. You can see the damage already being done by Larssen. This is going to be very difficult for Fnatic. I think Rogue is just going to try and end it here.
Ulti for Razork, maybe the last hope that they have. Gold card goes in, Upset the immediate cleanse, but that's it. They've just got too many members. There's nothing for them to do. Upset doesn't have the damage to thread through all of them. Odoamne nearly unstoppable. Rogue moving in, but Razork desperate anyway. Will try to finish the job, holding the gold card, holding the lockdown. Razork set to fall, but now Humanoid coming in. Eyes on the ball. Where will it go? Only one getting connected. That's the Janna heal coming in.
HP again.
Malrang now stepping forward, unstoppable, just looking to pick off Hylissang before the fight even starts. He's going to take that away. The bubble, will it even land? Doesn't need it. Moving in. They're looking to end. Fnatic respawning, but it is not enough. Rogue will remain undefeated in the LEC. The absolute confidence as they finish Fnatic off slowly but surely. A 6-0 start to week 3.
And how exciting is Rogue to watch at the moment? They're not the one who's taking it slow. They're the ones finding the lead through kills. Not just of lane priority into jungle dominance, but into jungle dominance, into lane priority then, where they can just pull off the members of Fnatic with the pick composition. Beautiful stuff by Rogue. And clearly one of the best teams in the LEC here in the first 3 weeks.
And I gotta say, Trymbi played a great Janna game, don't get me wrong. Don't have a lot of other Janna games to compare it to. Was pretty good. But the duo of Malrang and Larssen, and especially Malrang for getting that ball rolling, incredible, incredible stuff. We've heard about how this guy, yeah, there might have been some expected issues, but he's been working hard to acclimate to the team, working hard to learn the language, and he popped off in this game and in this matchup. Kiapog, Malrang, Larssen, Trymbi. Pick. No wrong choice. At LEC
all
on
great
Twitter.
Choices. All great choices.
But I am blown away. Incredible, incredible game of League of Legends.
Completely agree. It was definitely a game where I'm going to be very excited to go back and VoD review this one, because it was not just one team rolling over and dying. It was two different stylistic trying to come ahead.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, Rogue stay undefeated. For the first time in their history, they start the season 6-0. And after the break, Laure will be joined by Comp to talk about that statement victory over Fnatic.
I'm a beast. You know I'm a beast. Welcome to the feast. My whole team off the leash.
I think I deserve to win the LEC because I believe I have a lot of talent.
Barcoon now knocking him in. Keep your eyes on the dragon, but the dragon might not even matter instead. The jungler just going to be picked off. Barcoon flash coming over. Here and doing so much damage, pairing up with VTO.
I don't think that FLICKR is overhyped. Every time I have him in my team, I'm very happy to play with him.
And Janna is going to get the kickback onto target as pops the tempered bait, curtains open, and FLICKR goes dominating. 2 shots, 2 kills.
You know I'm a beast. You know I'm a beast.
I'm definitely looking forward to face Missions as well. Team that can be scary, team that used to be even top 2, top 3 last year.
VTO's behind him. Getting
and a prediction! The biggest brain we have ever seen.
Looking forward to face them.
I think Angus is like really stable and he's been playing for so many years, so I don't think he will like play worse this year. I think he will be pretty much like always, but I think he's going down slowly and I will come for him.